Hello, welcome back. I'm Tonya from Tonya's Witchy Kitchen, and how are you doing today? It's definitely fall. Our evenings are cold. I've had to cover my tomatoes twice. Well, twice this week. Yeah. My tomatoes, my cucumbers, my peppers, strawberries. With blankets and tarps and whatever I can find. The blankets actually work better than the tarps do. But I'm gonna save them as long as I possibly can. And my chamomile's still growing. That's funny because it doesn't seem to freeze. Maybe it does, but the buds grow really fast. So I've still been picking chamomile, which is fun. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I can't believe it's fall. We picked the pumpkins. Did I tell you we picked the pumpkins? We picked the pumpkins this last weekend, and we got a ton of them. I don't know what we're gonna do with them. I mean, we'll make pumpkin puree. My mom makes a pumpkin soup. That's so yummy. I don't think she uses pumpkin. I think she uses like squash. But, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't make a difference. It's so good though. And, yeah, just getting ready for fall. Yay. Oh, yeah, I can't believe it. It's just, time goes so fast. But let's see, what else is new around here? Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. So my question is this. When's the last time you had a day to just do nothing? Like your family had a day to just do nothing. Except be in the moment. I know I talked about that before, but this last weekend, it rained and we were supposed to work the few cattle we have, but my son decided it was too muddy and he's like, I just want a day off. I just want a day off. And I'm like, well, technically Sundays are supposed to be a day off. They're a day of rest. And in our society, we don't get rest anymore. And I think that's a huge problem with mental health and disease and sickness and all this stuff, is we don't take that day of rest anymore. And so I said, well, we should do that. I said, definitely. So, I mean, by the time we got home from church and visiting, my mom and, all this stuff, we came home and the girls came out and my kids played cards. I don't know what kind of cards they played. They played something, this game my son plays at the sales barn. And then they might have played poker even. But they played cards most of the afternoon, and then the boys were shooting pumpkins. Then we were harvesting pumpkins. Then they were playing golf. And it was just really cool because it was just a day to be in the moment and to be with everybody. And it was really, really cool, No, I didn't play cards. I was working on my soap list. But that's my day to be, because I'm playing with my hair, listening to them, play and argue over cards. And it's just, but when was the last day you actually sat and was just in the moment, not rushing around, not doing anything, just being there, just absorbing the atmosphere? I don't know, I couldn't think of a word, It's really cool. Really cool. I wish we would do that more. My grandpa always talked about Sundays off, It didn't matter if the field was ready to combine, you took Sundays off, and we don't do that anymore. We used to have, our state used to be one of those where the stores couldn't open. Like gas stations and grocery stores, I think, could be open before noon, but otherwise everything else had to be shut down till noon. And we got, with the surplus of the oil field and all these people coming in from other states, they finally passed it that everything can be open whenever they want on Sundays. But it really does take away from that family time, and it was nice. You could go to church, go to lunch with your family or whatever, but You can still do that, but some jobs it's not allowed. You might have to go to work now because the store's open. But yeah, let me know. Let me know when was the last time you took a day off and you were just present. I'd like to know, and I'd like to know what you did. But anyway, today we are starting the hot process soap. Are you cooking your hot process too long? Have you ever thought of that? There's a lot of, yeah, I went back to my notes. I'll talk about it in the video. Yeah, so 3 things: be kind, be forgiving, be you. And let's go check out the first of the hot process. Are you overcooking it? Let's go check out the video. Okay, this is going to be in a couple sections, I decided, because, what else do I have to do? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so I went back to my notes. Like when I first started soaping, I literally researched everything I could for like 6 months before I even attempted to make a soap bar. Yeah, so much fun. 6 to 9 months. But anyway, so I went back and I don't do this. I did this just because it's a little tiny pot. Everything was around 100 degrees, as you could see. Otherwise, if it's a big pot, it takes forever to get to trace, okay, to a good emulsion, a stable emulsion. And so going forward, just note, I'm under 150. I'm not over 150 anymore, but under 150, because the whole point of this is it started out as a waking up at 2:00 in the morning thing. See, it's not emulsified. And going hot process is just cold process in a pot. If we literally left it in there, like didn't even turn it on and left it in there, we would have soap the next morning. What a cool way to make soap dough if you needed a big batch. But yeah, don't ask me why it never hit me that way, but it was like, so at what point is it done, right? Because I've been cooking my hot process, hearing people say, oh, it's got to be cooked 2 hours. Oh, it's got to be cooked this many hours. We are talking about soap made with sodium hydroxide, okay? We're not talking about soap paste made with potassium hydroxide, okay? Because sodium hydroxide is what makes the bar hard. So going back to basics in my notes, my original notes, I have check temp of soap. It should be between 200 and 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Then it's done. Okay? But I wanted to test this. So I pH'd a lot of these after. So this is the pH right after, see? Right after it's at trace. It is too high. It is 13, which, of course, it's not even saponified yet. It hasn't even done anything. It hasn't cooked or nothing. So, cooked it another 15 minutes. Too bad I didn't take better oils on this one. I had done one before, but I always do 15 minutes. If it's a big batch, I might do 5 minutes, and check it, and then 5 minutes and check it. But if it's not really doing it a lot, I will leave it for 15 minutes, especially if you start at a lower temp. When I would soap hot process at like 160 degrees, oh yeah, it was gone fast. As you can see, little batch, and it's already nice and thick. I mean, this looks like mashed potato stage, but we would have missed applesauce stage. I think it's just, doing its thing. So I mix it really, really well. Really, really well. I do use my water at a 3-to-1 ratio with my lye when I hot process, just to make sure I have enough, because I do constantly, continue to mix it a lot. So that's my initial. That was under 150 degrees. This one is 154 degrees, and I think I'm still, at that. Oh, the light's really bad, you guys, but I'm still at that, upper 13 pH, to where this is not And I'm sure you are like, you have to add this to water. Well, there's a lot of water in there. So I just feel like soap paste, I wasn't going to add it to it. You see me add it. This is nice, and it's getting glossy already. And that was the kicker. So, there's the gel phase starting up. And it looks beautiful. It really does. And, and then see how it sticks to the sides? See how the soap is now sticking to the sides in that funky way? That's when I would pull it before, because it would be not exactly that, but when I was not, knew what I was doing, I just knew that after that point, see, we're at 200 degrees. Bingo. I knew at that point as it was sticking that it was done. I don't even know why I knew that, but I knew it was done. And so, let's see what we got. Do we still have a... we might still have a funky color. Oh, here's my notes. 15 to 20 minutes, and it's at 200 degrees. So, I think I take a sample of this. It's just so fun to play with. So excuse me, but and like I said, you can see that gel phase coming, and that's when you want to be done. I guess if you don't want to gel your soap, you could do it sooner. But the point of hot processing is so you can add additives and scents that don't handle saponification very well, right? That is the point. So, yep, see, I was like, no, I have to take a little test sample here. So we're going to put him in there. Even though it shouldn't matter, overall, it should not matter. That guy is going to saponify whether he's been half cooked or half baked or in the oven the full amount of time. He's gonna be fine. So at this point, I'm adding my super fat, which is shea butter, and my fragrance oil. No, the shea butter wasn't melted. I just figured it was hot enough to melt the shea butter. Yeah. I think I did shut off my my little crock pot here. See, as you look at how it sticks. It doesn't stick like that when you start cooking it, It doesn't do that, but as it cooks and stuff, yeah. Because think about it. Are you overcooking your hot processed soap? I truly, honestly believe I have been overcooking it the last few years because I just, ooh, look at that, got out of the habit and just got super impatient and, cook it hot, cook it fast, and then, okay, that was my fragrance oil. The shea butter was the super fat. It was partially melted. Sorry. But, definitely, yes, I've been overcooking it. Because when you see the last video that I did of the blue Caribbean, which is what this one is going to be. Oh, and did you see the pH up there? It's that nice, pretty green. The swirls on that one were awesome. But the sides were atrocious. And I mean, some people would probably just make a bigger bar and bevel it down, but I'm not a beveler in any sense of the means. I don't even own a bevel. So yeah, I think that's the word for it. I don't even own one. But yeah, so it was like, I gotta be doing this wrong, and I mean, that's what I think about at 2 o'clock in the morning is, how can I fix this? What am I doing wrong? And so yeah, I mean, what can I say? This is how I split them. I usually heat the glass bowl up so that it's warm when I put my soap in there. Just, so it doesn't get so hard and chunky, because it does. Hot process soap will set up fairly fast. Maybe not as fast as you like. Sometimes I let it sit in the mold overnight. But yeah, so I let it sit for a little bit. I took one more pH test. Should have put it in water, but, you know, maybe I do. I don't know what I do. Because there's not a whole lot of water left in there. A lot of it has cooked out. And that's why people are like, oh, you don't have to cure it so long. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah, I was like, no, we'll do the water test. You still have to cure it because it still has water in it, you know? It still has some water weight. And the best thing to do is when you get your hot process soap procedure down, you know, and then you start weighing them to see where they're losing their water weight and how long, then you'll know exactly how long you have to wait for them to cure. You know, it could be 2 weeks, it might be 4 weeks, it could be 6 weeks. I don't know. So, you know, and then I just give it a really good swirl because in the pot swirl, see, this is an in the pot hot process soap swirl, and just plop it in the mold, and it's so smooth and glorious. Yeah, this is so pretty. So you want some tips for hot process soap? Like I said, never leave, or I don't think I said this, never leave your hot process soap while it's cooking. That is where you can have a soap volcano. I have done that. I have had a volcano all over my kitchen cupboard way back because I thought if I turned it up, it would be better. And let me tell you, it's not. That can that is not always a good plan to turn the soap up to make it cook faster. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And another thing, when you're using like these crock pots, get a plastic emulsion stick just for them. Seriously, because otherwise you're going to see, eventually you're going to have flaking of that porcelain. Now, I didn't know what to do with him because he was still super hot, but, you know, the top super cool and not wanting to cooperate. So, yeah, that's always a thing. I have this thing constantly, you know, doing this, but I was trying to, you know, make it cute, but you can't always make it cute. So another tip is some people will add yogurt to their hot process soap at the end to supposedly make it more fluid. That's great, but I still haven't seen one where their tops are super fluid to where they can design the top. You know what I mean? So it's just, you know, a thing. Now, you might see some and they'll say once it's fully gelled, it's done cooking, which I showed you that. We saw the gel phase and it was at 200 degrees and it's cooked. If you don't want to cook anymore, take it out of the crock pot. Take it out of the burner and leave it, you know, in your little crock pot porcelain thing. But take it out of there and you can stir it and then work with it at that point, you know. Because even if it's not fully gelled, it will finish saponifying in the mold. Why? Because it's cold process in a crock pot. So here are my test strips. Decided to do that one again. And look at that. Yep. So see, it's just a matter of time and, you know, paying attention. So here's my soap the next day. I always let my hot process sit overnight. Why? I don't know. Because I'm busy and I don't want to unmold it and have it all, you know, being too warm. I did actually wrap them in a towel. The wood molds, I do like the wood molds, you guys. I really do, even if it's got a silicone liner or just the wood mold with the wrap. I do like them because they do hold their heat really nice. Really, really nice. Okay, so we're going to check him out. You know, his top's a little craggly, and the sides, I don't know. He's got some really cute swirls there. Okay, there's this side. This side is not as bad. Like if you go back and look at that other video, the sides are atrocious because I do show you the side of the bar before I cut it. I'll post that in the links below for you to look at. But otherwise, I called this, a pretty dang good experiment. Okay, so the back wasn't the cutest. Very, very, and you can cut the ends off. You guys cut the ends off. I thought it was a pretty good test run. And I was like, what else can I tweak to make this a little bit better, a little bit smoother? What can I do with the tops? All those things. All those things. So many questions I had. And, digging through all my soap notes to find them. Here we are, obviously the next day I wanted to show you that it is saponified. It is just soap. That was the very first test we took. Remember that? He was the very first test sample we took, and he was after, was it half an hour of cooking? Half hour of cooking, I think is all it was. Because we did the initial test, 15, and then 15, so yeah. So basically all we're doing is forcing a cold process soap to saponify faster. That's all this is. I actually put tape on there to hold it down, and it changed the pH on all of it. So there you go. And as always, I hope you had a good time. Thank you for dropping by. I will see you next time. God bless.